Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Godzilla 1974 Bank by Diamond Select. Diamond Select has been making Godzilla statues, or in this case, banks, for I believe like 4 or 5 years at this point. And so far, I only have this one, and I have Godzilla 1989, which I'll review next time. And really quick, I just want to apologize because I've had those two for quite a while. I've had them since the end of 2017, so I unfortunately did not, review them from that brief period of time, like later last year when I didn't really upload any Godzilla content. And the reason why was because I just forgot I had these, so yeah. Either way, I'm reviewing them now, so hopefully that makes up for it, and if not, well, sorry, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, this version of Godzilla comes from the 1974 film Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, which I think is a good movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do really like the movie. Though I do think Terror of Mechagodzilla is just a little better, but that's just me. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's just get into this. So, first we'll take a look at the painting. The painting on this figure is, well, it's not great. The only bits of paint here would be the toenails, fingernails, the eyes, the teeth and gums, and the inside of the mouth here, and the dorsal plates. The rest of the figure is just a solid, gray, charcoal black sort of color. And that's pretty much it. The painting here, that usually wouldn't be a problem for me, but a lot of the painting, especially in the dorsal plates, it just looks pretty sloppy. Some of it, some of the gray sort of bleeds on to, the dorsal plates here, as you can kind of see. And that kind of contradicts what I just said about this just being a solid gray piece. But anyway, moving on. And even here, at the base of the tail, or not base of the tail, but yeah, that doesn't look great at all. And it slowly kind of gets worse throughout. So, yeah. And even the nails, they don't look awful, but they just look like they're tacked on and just not great. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it for the painting. Not a lot going on, which usually wouldn't be a problem, but, well, again, a lot of the painting here is very sloppy. So, yeah. The painting on this figure, I'd say, gets a half a pass. Again, it's not awful, but it's definitely not good either, so, yeah. Anyway, now we'll be taking a look at the articulation, and there actually is a little bit of articulation here. This is supposed to be like a statue-like figure, kind of like X Plus, except without the quality. And basically, this figure serves as a it serves as a bank, so you could store money in it, because there's a slit here, or slit, where you could just put quarters and coins and dollars even. And the way you would get it out, or whatever you had in there, just take off the head, and just, yeah, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Honestly, if I got this when I was a kid, I remember, it's funny, first grade, I remember we had to, buy these, little piggy bank things for, a project in class, and we had to do where we basically just, counted change, and truth be told, if I bought this when I was a kid, then I know for a fact that I would have brought it every day to that, thing we did in class, but the teacher would have probably said no because this thing is very big, but that wouldn't have stopped me. Are you kidding me? So, yeah. Anyway, again, this is supposed to be just a statue-like thing, so I guess the lack of articulation isn't really a problem, so the articulation, no pass, but like I said in a few of my other videos, no articulation, or no pass in, articulation isn't always a bad thing, so, yeah. Anyway, now we'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure is probably the weakest part, mainly in the neck, so I'm just going to take off the head and just kind of show you. The rest of the sculpting here looks great, looks very spot on to how he looked in, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Everything here looks great, but the head itself is very problematic. He has this, weird hunch, which I know for a fact he didn't have in the movie, so it just looks weird from the side. And even in the front, in some angles, it looks very weird, which, yeah, this looks somewhat close, but it's not one-to-one. I remember he didn't look as, stupid as this. In the movie, sure, he did look a little goofy, but it definitely wasn't, stupid looking like this. So, Yeah. Other than the head, the sculpting on this figure is still very well, and it does work. So, sculpting on this figure, I'd say gets a half a pass. You know, I would give it more, but that head is just not my cup of tea. So, yeah. Anyway, now we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure is, again, not bad. So the head isn't really, that great in terms of detailing. We do get scales throughout, which don't look awful. They're just not really well defined, and even in the face, it's, the detailing here isn't really the best, but going down on the body here, all the scaling and everything, not so much here, but like on the legs and all that, everything here does look much better. All the scaling looks pretty well defined, not perfect, but again, looks good. And all the creasing to kind of give it that like guy in a rubber suit feel, which I do appreciate. And yeah, the feet detailed pretty well. And yeah, nice creasing throughout, again, guy in a rubber suit, I like that a lot. And even in the tail here, besides this seam, and for some reason this seam, the detailing here looks very nice. All the scaling looks great, well defined, and so on. Except for the end of the tail here. It does look a little not great. And the dorsal plates look very spot on to how they looked in the movie. So, again, I do appreciate that. And that's pretty much it for the detailing on this figure. The detailing on this figure isn't great, but it's definitely not terrible either. In fact, in some spots, it's pretty good. So, the detailing on this figure, I'd say gets 3/4 of a pass. Again, not great, but for what it is, not bad. So at the end of the day, should you get this? Honestly, no. They actually did do other monsters as Banks. I know they did Jet Jaguar, they did Fire Rodan. They did half of King Ghidorah's body, which do look better than these. I haven't seen any of those in person. I've only seen their Mechagodzilla, which looked great, but for some reason I didn't pick it up, which probably a dumb move on my end, but that's what I get. So, yeah, this figure, it's not great. The sculpting is off. The painting is sloppy. Overall, not a great figure. However, recently, Diamond Select are releasing, statues of Godzilla 1991 that actually looks great. Where he's, like, in the water, and there are, like, battleships around him, and, like, I think a jet, which looks great. I don't have it, unfortunately, because I don't really know where I'd put it, but from what I've seen, it looks incredible. So if you do want a Godzilla figure from Diamond Select, then definitely get that. Otherwise, if you buy for this for a kid and they, here you go, little Tommy, you can use this as a, piggy bank, then I feel like a kid would like this a lot. But as a collector, it doesn't look the best, and I feel like you should mainly stick with the newer Diamond Select statues. So, yeah. Anyway, in terms of prices, you're looking at about $30, which, honestly, this figure to me feels more like maybe 25, but that might be a little low. So, yeah, not a terrible price tag, but you could do better. If you could get this for cheaper, then even then, I'd say don't do it, because this figure is a pretty, good size figure. In fact, here it is next to Dr. Billy Grant, but yeah. So, even if you can find this figure for a good price, and you don't have the room, then don't go for it. But if you do have the room and, you do find it for a good price, then honestly, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.